What we focus on is where energy goes. We may not speak it, but if we focus on in our head, we're sending it out. It's funny, if you be around negative people, they can have their mouths shut, not say a word, but you can feel the negativity just pulsing out of them.
Welcome back to the Healing Works podcast. We are excited to be here today with our partner in Raise Your Vibration, Sarah Moon. What's up, Sarah? It's like I feel like I'm announcing you from like the stadium. Sarah Moon.
Well, what's up? I'm excited to be here in St. George with you guys. This is fun.
Yeah. We're very excited to have you on and talk some shop, talk Raise Your Vibration, talk benefits, talk how that, what we do in Raise Your Vibration. But first wanted to start with how we know each other, because a lot of, business partnerships come together, but we've known Sarah, my mom, myself, our family have known Sarah since 97.
So,
1997.
Yeah, your mom reminded me, I thought my son was a toddler, but I was pregnant with him. So,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, so it's quite a while.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, so we've known, I've known Sarah, I say we as in my family, but Altee as well. I've known Sarah for a very long time.
Late to the party.
Yeah, Altee was late to the party. But Altee and Sarah have been working very closely together for
about 5 years.
4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
Working together energetically on people, helping people remove emotional blocks, mental blocks,
energetic blocks,
spiritual blocks, energetic blocks, all the blocks that are associated with that are associated and start by emotional traumas in the moment that most of us don't process in the moment, and for the prior episodes, trapped emotions that we've talked about before, but they work together very well, and we've known her for such a long time. But maybe give a little backstory on who you are, what you do, how you came to do what you do.
Okay.
So the audience can, get to know you a little bit.
I talk a little funny. I'm from Brazil. I got to the States when I was 17 years old. I went to my senior year in high school here.
How old are you now?
53.
You don't ask people how old they are on the podcast.
She doesn't
That's
care.
Like
I don't
cardinal
care.
sin.
I don't care.
I know.
love
I
being
just
53.
want them to hear. I mean, I knew, but I just wanted her to announce herself.
Yeah.
So she's been here for a while.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Years.
42.
Oh, I'm just kidding. I thought you weren't going to answer.
You did.
I'm the same, but that's okay.
We're
That's
40.
okay.
Well, I mean, when people say if you could be any age, I would be 53.
Yeah.
I would not want to be 20. I would not want to be 18, because it took a lot of work to get here at 53.
Right.
And I love being where I'm at, emotionally, spiritually, and everything. It was a lot of work. Right. So I would not want to be anywhere at any other age. No.
This is great.
That's really good.
This is great.
Yeah,
That's
no,
really
that
good. I
is
think
good
most people
insight.
would choose,
Yeah.
right? Choose something different.
99%.
But I think that's the point is, can you be comfortable in your own skin where you're at
Exactly.
and have that sense of gratitude because you know what it's taken to get here and you know what it feels like to be here, especially, right?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
The road to hell is well traveled. I know the addresses, and but I
can give you detailed information.
Oh, honey, all the shortcuts to get there and back,
All the detours.
Yeah,
Well, I think everyone can to their own right.
Yeah, but as I said, it took work to get here, to be at peace where I'm at with who I am and love who I am. Mm-hmm. All of it.
Right.
Even the parts that I'm not so proud of it. It's part of it. It's part of the deal, that got me here. So
Part of the whole.
Yeah, part of the wholeness. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I came to Utah. I found Christianity, which that was a life-saving.
Right.
I got married. I had 4 children, and I divorced my first husband. That was hard. That was hard to do. It was hard on the kids. But back up a little. I had to learn to deal with emotions and to deal with trauma from childhood and upbringing, and been to a spot in life where suicide sounded pretty good. Had to go to counseling and get out of that hole.
And that was what age?
25.
Okay. Yeah.
And in that journey out of that hole, then I found alternative healing. Growing up, my grandma had an Urbana tea for everything. And I forgot that part. But also, going through counseling and being given tools to deal with what's in front of me, then I took a step farther and went on a healing journey, which has been amazing.
Yeah.
And learned a lot. People go to school and get degrees. I hit the books. I hit the classes that I could get. Energy is real and very workable with. And once you work with your energy, get the negative out of it, get the emotions out of it, that's very helpful. And raising vibration is real. If you are at a low vibration, you're not going to feel good. You're not going to do good to yourself or others.
Right.
So in that healing journey, I became stronger. I became wiser. Do I know everything? No. Am I the strongest person? No. But am I happier? Yes. Yes. And it's a constant journey. You never stop learning until the day you die, and you never stop transforming until the day you die. But to understand that we are love, and that's all we are. And because we are love, we're complete. I mean, we are everything and we have everything. And when we connect to people, if we can look beyond their actions and beyond their words and connect to the love part that is in them as it is in us, then we can strengthen each other and we can move forward as a whole. And anyway,
well, as opposed to what normally happens, and we project our insecurities on each other and see the limitations and recognize that in others and blame and have a lot of contention
and the need to defend and attack and I'm going to defend this because it's special to me, or I'm going to attack that because I know that will mobilize you and that will stop you.
Right.
Which feels like a threat to me.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the process, right, though, because we can only meet people where we are vibrationally.
Yeah.
And so a little back explanation. So your vibration is based on your emotional attitudes in the moment. So every time your heart beats, generates electrical current, which produces a magnetic field. That magnetic field, the vibrational pattern and the vibrational frequency of that magnetic field is determined based off of your emotional attitude. So to your point, if I'm frustrated or I'm, angry, I read today that anger is sadness left alone for a long time.
It is.
That's sad. But I read that today. That jumped out.
So
but the
angry.
point
I've been
being
sad
is
for a long
if I'm operating in a state of sadness or frustration or worry or anger, not only do we get the physiological shifts in the nervous system in the body, but that vibrationary state and that vibrational frequency, I'm going to find that match in those around me because of the physiological systems in the body. Not only that, but because of the way energetics work. And so that law of attraction, every time that magnetic field is resonating and producing, being produced, every nanosecond is producing that vibrational pattern. That's what's attracted back, or that's what I'm finding in my life, because the brain also, with those heart signals sent up to the brain is a pattern recognition system. So it's going to think and seek things according to that emotional state, that vibration, or that vibrational state. And so, like I said, if I'm walking around worried about crap that maybe hasn't happened, or I'm frustrated because someone said something to me, I'm going to find other people that are frustrated too, right? That's why they say misery loves company.
We feed each other.
We feed. Yep, I was just going to say that. We feed each other based off of how we're feeling. So,
Well, and that's why I love when Heart Math makes that statement. What are you feeding the field?
yep.
Yeah.
Because we feed off each other's emotions, and we're responsible for what we put out into the field or the universe vibrationally. And so if we're contributing a lot of frustration or fear or anger or all of that, then that's what we're contributing to the vibration of the planet. And when you look at it like that, you go, I don't want to contribute the negativity. I want to contribute love. How do I do that? You know?
Well, but the thing too is we don't realize is what we focus on is where energy goes. We may not speak it, but if we focus on in our head, we're sending it out. You know, it's funny. If you be around negative people, they can have their mouths shut, not say a word, but you can feel the negativity just pulsing out of them.
Well, they're autopilot.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to be consciously aware. And I think that's the point. And that's the point, the reason that we have the Razor Vibration Call. But the point is that most people, I mean, when 97% on average of your days dictated by your subconscious programming, and your subconscious program, your subconscious mind is only based off feelings or emotions from the past or in the moment. And so you don't even have to be consciously aware, but if your program is that of frustration because you've been your neural baseline, which is your often repeated emotions, thoughts, attitudes, behaviors, are that of days and weeks and months and years of frustration of things not going away that you think they should, or whatever it is for all of us.
Yeah.
Right? Things that, you want to, have more of this or have more of that, but it's not going that way. So it causes frustration, raise your hand, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of us. But whatever that feeling is, most of the time, you don't have to say anything. You don't even have to think anything.
It's a vibe.
Right? That's when people say your vibe, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
There's all the sayings out there.
Yeah.
It's just backed by,
And the
backed
higher
by
your
science.
vibe goes, the smaller your tribe gets.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's what they say. It's lonely at the top. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's
Seriously.
what happens is, like you said, you don't even have to say anything.
No,
because
you
it's
don't.
called energetic communication.
Yeah.
For the public, because it's our heart's magnetic fields and our nervous systems are tuned to these emotional magnetic frequencies. And so we don't have to say anything. That's why you can walk down a dark alley and the hair raises on your arms, and it's like, probably don't go down there because your heart field is sensing the environment around you. And it's that much more powerful than the brain's magnetic field.
Yeah.
And it communicates with the brain instantaneously, but it takes the heart's recognition can happen a lot faster than the brain's.
yeah.
And so,
I mean, even when you meet people, like, have you ever met people that you go, come here, let me give you a hug.
absolutely.
And let me hold you.
Right.
Super drawn to you.
And have you met people that you go, okay, nice to meet you. See ya. I gotta go. Because it's what they're putting out there is not a match to what you are.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, those people that just radiate sunshine.
Yeah.
Right? And you want to be around them all the time. Same thing. Or conversely, the negative people that can just walk into a room and you're like, yeah, I want to leave.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And people don't realize the power of words. The two most powerful words on the planet are I am. And what you put behind those words matter. Some people will say, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I'm da-da-da-da-da. Fill in the dots. But you're not stupid. You may have done stupid things.
Right.
That doesn't make you stupid. You may have done dumb things. That doesn't make you dumb. But when we word that, we believe it. And when we believe it, we start acting according to our beliefs. So for people that's what I love about the work we do with people, is to see the light going on,
Right.
when we point that out. How is your wording? Even the words that you don't speak out loud. What are you saying? What are you telling yourself about yourself? Are you being kind? Are you being loving? Are you being truthful? Because no, there is no dumb or stupid people. There are people that do dumb and stupid things. We all do. But when we have those hard conversations, I mean, we are the hardest judges on ourselves, right? When we have those hard conversations, we send out the result that we think, and also a reform control freak. Thanks to Altee.
I have to control its outcome. I'm like, why?
Seriously, it's human nature to want to control the outcome. It's like
I think I miss standing in that line in heaven or whatever. Like where I don't know. I mean, it's not that like I don't ever think that way or like want that sometimes, but I'm like I just move past it really fast. I'm like, never mind, it's too much work.
But I mean,
I'll go with whatever happens.
I mean, I'm a used to be very black and white, literal letter of the law, right? And if you obey this law, this is the outcome, and expect that outcome. But, the options are many and the outcomes are many. And to trust it, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and because it's before you and you're dealing with it the best way you know how to, then you're going to have to trust that God's in it with you. And the best outcome for you and those involved is what's going to happen. It may not be the outcome that you expect, built for, and want, but in the long run, 2020 hindsight, it is the best outcome that you needed at that time. The timing will be perfect. The way of delivery will be perfect. And what happens is perfect. It may be a letdown at the moment, but when you see a hindsight, it's the best thing that could happen to you. If you trust it, if you go with it, and just la-di-da, like...
La-di-da.
Like our friend
that may be a good description.
Like my friend here.
Okay, but Kevin is like, he's like, sometimes when he's, impersonating me, he's like, la, 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 la. I'm like, no, I'm not
You're
aware.
not oblivious.
Yeah,
you're not. You don't lack awareness. No, but I wanted to hit on something with those words, and the words are inherently powerful, but it's those emotions that we put behind it.
Yeah.
Right? In that energetic communication, it's we refer to it as a song, right? Is the lyrics and the words stated are powerful, but it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So in a song, and I find this funny all the time, and our sister-in-law Lexi, we have a chat and we go back and forth all the time about lyrics that we had no idea what the song said from like high school, right? Because what happens with communication is you feel the energy first and then you hear the words. So I wanted to hit, because that's such a powerful statement on I am, right? And it's not only, because a lot of us get, habitualized in the things that we say every morning. Like we get out of bed and like, oh, I'm tired. We get, I'm hungry, we got to start shifting those to, I'm excited to be alive today. I'm energy. I have a ton of energy. I'm grateful, right? And so those affirmations, I want to talk about that for a second, but the I am, right, is an affirmation, an affirming statement.
Yep.
What's difficult for most is that unless we're in a heart-brain coherent state and the high cognitive functions are activated, those positive affirmations have a hard time taking hold because we're going against the subconscious negative programming. But yes, we gotta, those I am statements are so powerful. We just gotta make sure what emotions are behind them too, in how, in the magnitude. So if I say, I'm stupid for doing that, there's a difference in vibrational frequency and how high that emotion is with that. And we don't want to say it at all, but like we got to understand that those emotions behind the words are what really start driving those deep beliefs.
Yeah. I heard this and I have tried to adopt it. It's an Irish saying. Instead of saying I'm tired, tired is on me. And we do that all the time. And I'm like, tired is on me because I'm not owning the tired.
Right.
You know, somebody that doesn't feel well. I'm so sick. I am so sick. And when you say that, your brain is going, okay, she's not that sick, but she wants to be. So I better make that sick. You make her
literal
that sick.
command.
A literal.
Well, because we sell ourselves short on about everything. Because we condition ourselves to wake up and say, I'm tired. Are we really that tired?
No, we're not.
No, we just woke
I
up.
might actually be today.
But the point
we got
is,
into town late and I didn't sleep well last night. But
the point is
tired
we
is on
have
me.
so much more in the tank. I mean, like David Goggins, he says when you're working out, what's the rule? The 40% rule?
Yeah, you're like
That when you feel you're tapped out, you have 40% more that the body can actually do.
Did he say he either says you got 40 more or you're only at 40%?
You're only at 40%.
sorry,
I know.
David
I may.
Goggins.
Yeah.
But either way, you have way more
yeah,
than the tank.
Internet, check me on that one. But
People are going to comment and be like, that is not what he says.
you know what? I'll look it
Okay,
up right
Kevin
now.
looks that up. But when you phrase it like that and you reframe it and say, tired is on me or sickness is on me, then you're
sadness
not,
is on me.
yeah,
or-
sadness is on me. Then you're not owning it, and it's empowering because it's like you can give it away or let go of it when you're ready, and it's like okay, it's not that you are that, but that you have the ability to off it.
Okay. He's convinced our body and mind are only allowing us to tap into 40% of our potential. Okay. So.
So you are at 40, you have 60 more to
so
go.
I was going to, I almost said that. So, sorry, forgive me. I looked it up. I rechecked it. But, so 40%. But the point is, we will always rise or fall to the level that we allow ourselves to do. And so if I keep telling myself I'm tired, I'm going to be tired, right? Or if you're sick, it's just the reframe and the shift in perception. And the elevated or positive state, instead of focusing on I'm sick, I'm getting better.
Yeah.
My body's feeling better.
Yeah.
Right.
And see, like, there's this one book out there. I love that book, and I recommend highly that people read it. It's called The 22 Non-Negotiable Laws of Wellness by Greg Anderson. And this guy had lung cancer. One lung got taken out and the other it metastasized. So the doctor said, you have 30 days, go home and get your affairs in that order. He went home and he decided to reach out to people that had overcome cancer. And the book was written 10 years after his 30-day diagnostic. So, but he has these laws that are amazing, but he had to start with forgiveness.
Right.
And for healing. So, and if I remember right, there was an argument in the office and he walked out with lung cancer and the other walked out with prostate cancer. And he went to apologize to that guy. And after he left his house, it was the first time he was able to take a deep breath. And then he went on about the other laws, the win-win, the good diet, exercise. I mean, there's 22.
Right.
But it is such a good book because he decided, I'm going to do different. I'm not going to believe in a 30-day thing. And then people ask him when he goes and talks, when did you know that you were not going to die at 30 days? He goes, on day 31. You know what I mean? So
he's like, I just needed to get past that 30-day mark. After that, so the mind is amazing. And we can, with the mind, heal the body because...
But it has to come from the heart.
It does. But
You're talking to Mr. Heartmath over
I
here,
understand.
so
I understand.
No, they just got to work
they have
together.
to work together.
They
and,
do.
and we mostly separate them out,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
just
yeah.
try and think our way through it, and without the proper
but
emotion.
the belief, I mean, the heart can be the love and can be open, but if the mind is closed, it's not going to change it. You know, if you believe I am sick, I have the 30 days,
Oh, for sure.
you're done.
Yes.
You're done for.
But to open up the heart
Yeah.
or open up the mind,
You got to open up the mind to work with the heart.
well, to open up the mind, it starts with the heart. The
Yeah.
heart has to open up the mind
Exactly.
to possibility, right?
But
Because, like we've said, I think every podcast up to this point, there's so many more signals. 90% of the signals that are going back and forth between the heart and the mind, 90% of them are coming from the heart. So it's
Tough to open up the mind with the mind.
yeah,
Because it's a pattern recognition system.
Yeah.
And it's only going to go off the patterns that it knows. And so we got to
Exactly.
give it a different signal to start informing it there's new belief, that there's new possibility. Right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the power of the coherent state
Right.
is that they're in alignment. And that's the whole point
Yeah.
of it. And then when you create those new beliefs and you're aware, then that really solidifies them. And it's like
Yeah.
a whole new level.
like years ago, I read an article in Portuguese. I'll have to dig it out because it was written so beautifully. And it suggests to people, you know, go home different ways because the brain, it'll create the patterns and it will cheat. It'll go on autopilot. Like you drive home. Did I stop at that red light? Did I, you know, because it's on autopilot because you have that way. And it was in that article, it said, explore, follow your passion, go and try different things in your life. You know, you have your job and you have your routine life, but go find something that you're passionate about. Go and try different restaurants, different trips and different things so your brain can expand and your heart can be happy. And so because the brain is lazy, it's going to learn something. Like when we learn how to drive, I mean, remember checking the review mirror and in driver's ed. And I mean, my first time driving with the driver's ed teacher, I forgot to put the car in park and I was leaving it. And he goes, Miss Moon, have you done everything? And I'm like, the mirror, yeah. And thank heavens he had the brake on his side because we were facing the lake. And so,
Oh my gosh.
but when you're first driving, there's all these things that you check. Now you get in the car, turn on the key, and it's autopilot because the brain knows what you're doing, right? So we do autopilot in relationships. We do autopilot in all those things. But once we connect the heart with the brain, then we can make effective, empowering changes
Right.
for healing, for empowerment for other people, for gaining knowledge, for raising the vibration and getting rid of the emotions and traumas.
Right, because it is that mindset that people seek, right? And we talk mindset a ton. And so we have to improve mindset, we have to change the signal that's incoming into the brain. And like you said, the brain's lazy. The brain just operates on what you give it.
Yeah.
And so it has those not predetermined, but those conditioned neural pathways that are called beliefs. And so it's very hard to operate outside of those. And like to that paper's point, we got to start doing things differently.
Yeah.
Most people wake up, first thing we do when we wake up is groan a little. And then what's the second thing we do? Second thing we do is we grab our phone. What's one of the biggest causes of stress in everyone's lives?
Yeah.
The cell phone, right? Because it's like, oh, what did I miss? Oh, what do I got to do? Oh, who needs me? Who, you know what I mean?
Pressure and
Yep. Pressure, work, emails, texts, everything like that. And so, I mean, we simply have to start doing things a little different. So to that paper's point, if you drive home a different way, if you look at things, that opens you up to new possibility.
Yeah.
And when there's new possibility, you can form new beliefs.
Yeah.
And so, those conditioned neurological networks in the brain are very difficult to override.
Yeah,
right?
and you can't delete
We're creatures of habit. That's why that's why the statement is that exactly that. We're creatures of habit because you condition that neural pathway enough. You do it on autopilot, subconscious programming. And so it's hard to override that.
See, you can't delete a habit. You have to replace it.
Yep.
And so the brain, because we do create those patterns, we live in reaction mode. We don't take action, right? If it's a relationship with this person, well, I know pretty much how I'm going to react with that relationship. Instead of stop, think, and then speak. It's like, it just comes
Yeah,
out.
and all of us say stuff like that, right? No, never.
I don't
No, but that
ever-
happens when you're not in the present moment.
Exactly.
And you can shift to the present moment with heart coherence, and that's why it's such a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But it takes removing those emotions of those beliefs first, because beliefs are emotions and thoughts repeated over and over and over again until they become hardwired programs in the brain, hardwired neural pathways, neurological networks. A lot of people think, though, that the brain is wired for negativity. A lot of people say that. I disagree. I think the brain is so powerful. The heart a little more, but we have to use them in unison and synchronicity together. But the brain is designed to create.
Yeah, but the brain doesn't know the word no or don't or can't. Like,
Yeah, the brain doesn't understand the
it
negative.
doesn't.
And
It
that's-
doesn't.
and
I mean,
that's the
if you
thing.
say, I don't want this, the brain hears, I want this. And so be careful. Be careful
Well,
what
I
you
mean,
say.
I've heard it stated before. It's just because our brains are like a computer. If you were to do a Google search that says no football, it's going to pull up everything related
About
to football
football.
Right.
because
Yeah.
it doesn't understand the negative. So it's just
Exactly.
taking that command. So being aware of that, the commands.
So
is-
when you're trying to change thought patterns, gotta be present, positive, and as with emotion as if it's happened already.
Yep.
But a lot of people will focus on, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want this. I can't. I won't. And it's the same thing of saying the whole statement without the negative word, which means you own that statement, right? And so the brain is very smart, and the voice that it trusts the most is ours. Mine, trust mine, your trust yours.
Right.
So we got to be kind with the stuff we say, and we got to be thoughtful of what we say. Mindful of what we say and think, because that's what we create. So I had...
And those are all, to me, those are all secondary responses to your emotional state. Because if you're grateful, what are you going to say?
gratitude statements.
Right. You're going to say, man, I'm so happy that this is happening. I'm so grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for the money coming in. I'm grateful for all these things, all these blessings, all these, accomplishments, successes. But if I allow myself to be frustrated, what's going to come out? Yep. I'm gonna complain. I'm gonna do a lot of complaining, right? Complaining about things that aren't going well, complaining about this person and that person. I'm gonna do a lot of complaining. And so that's the effort right there, is we can shift that in the moment. I think, but we're responsible for and choose our emotional states every moment of every day. Now, a lot of them are conditioned and subconscious programs, which run 97% of the day. But the point is that those beliefs and those conditioned responses or conditioned reactions mainly are governed by, and the boundaries are emotions. Mm-hmm. So that's why emotional release is so powerful, right?
Yes.
That's why when you remove that emotion from that belief, now the thought just becomes highly objective.
Yeah.
Instead of very subjective with that
Charged.
emotion of fear, worry, or anger, or frustration coupled to it, right?
It becomes a lesson,
Right.
And you can walk away with it and be at peace. So when the emotion is gone, because like with trauma, I learned not long ago that when we have experienced trauma, we're thinking as the trauma is happening.
Right.
So as we're thinking, that becomes a belief, and we carry it with us. So whenever it gets triggered, that belief, if something happens that it triggers that belief, it brings that trauma back. And you act from that survival defense state. So,
which is what they call PTSD.
Yes. And
from the past, but you're experiencing it in the moment.
In the moment, but it can be triggered by anything.
A smell,
yeah,
a movement, a word.
Well, that's because in the moment,
face.
when the body experiences such a high emotional charge, what happens is the brain takes a snapshot because the frontal cortex can't process that amount of energetic charge, that chaotic charge coming from the heart through the neural pathways to the amygdala, to the thalamus, to the brain. It can't process that, shuts off the frontal cortex. So whatever that snapshot is in the moment, then whatever you're seeing, that's why you can recall traumatic experiences by it's the emotion. But as soon as that emotion comes up, then it takes that snapshot, and that's that memory of sight, touch, hear, smell, sound, right? All your senses, and you can remember exactly where you were, what you smelled, what does that with songs from high school too, right? You can hear a song and you're immediately transported back to the hallway, and you can remember your locker combination because the subconscious is not powerful.
I can't remember the locker combination.
No,
but
I said
Kevin
that,
can.
but
I can't.
9:28.
No, I had a lot of experiences from the past that I had to deal with it. And some of them, I did not realize they were triggers. And then it was pointed out to me, yeah, this is a trigger. You need to get rid of that. And so the beauty of the work that we do is we can find it and we can get it out. And emotions are the same. They may have different experience. People have different experiences that have that emotion. I mean, the two emotions are love and fear, and anything is a derivative from either or.
Right.
But like everybody has frustration, everybody has anger, everybody has hurt, everybody has rejection, all those things in a different level. Some people have it up here, some people down here in the middle. But when we work with a group in a whole and we identify the emotions, we can release it for everybody.
Right.
And that is so powerful because as a whole, as a group, we connect. And when we connect in light, healing takes a whole new level of empowerment. So that is what's exciting.
Well, and we've done this before. I mean, we're just starting it in our designated call of Raise Your Vibration, but we have done this in groups in the past where we've gone around and worked on a specific block or issue that someone's having, and everyone's watching us really do this work live, like real time. And, maybe there's an issue with feeling comfortable in a relationship or at work or whatever is coming up. And, if the underlying root cause of this is, say, a belief of I'm not good enough, or life isn't fair, or life is a struggle, or, I'll be rejected, or anything like that. I mean, we've all experienced that, and we all probably have that, somewhere to some degree. And as we're working through that on an individual, everybody's benefiting because we're finding the emotions that are attached to that belief that make it real. Because if there wasn't an emotion attached to it, there wasn't a charge to it, then it's just information.
Yeah.
And so it's the emotional charge that makes it so impactful. And then that's what we're feeling. And then it reaffirms that belief. And we just sit in that cycle of feeling and thinking and thinking and feeling over and over and over again. And so when we can find that charge, what is it? What's the emotion? Because some people might think, I have anxiety, but maybe it's actually rejection. And so when you identify the actual emotion, which with the emotion code and body code, I do that through muscle testing, and look for that affirmative on whatever emotion it is through the process of elimination. So when we find that emotion and maybe where it's located in the body, then it liberates that energy. And when you take that charge, it just becomes information. And then we can work objectively with the brain to come up with create a new thought or a new belief, and then match that with an elevated emotion that we choose.
Yep.
And now you're empowered in your life because you're creating that.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do this.
I mean, I was amazed. I was in a stressful situation for months, and diabetes was on me really high, and I couldn't lower the numbers. The doctor upped my meds, and I was still at a flat 200 plus, 200 plus. And I removed myself from the stress, forgot to take medication for a couple of days, and I thought, it's going to be bad.
Right.
152. No medication for 2 days.
And where was it at before?
200 plus.
Yeah.
No medication. Removed self from stress.
Funny thing what stress does, or lack of stress, right?
Well,
And that's the big... go ahead.
I was just going to say, with diabetes or diabetes? Diabetes.
Whatever.
What's that commercial that guy used to say? Diabetes. Anyway, diabetes.
But
Whatever.
really, I mean, when you're talking about regulating your blood sugar levels, a lot of times that happens when you are not connected to the sweetness in life, and you look for that replacement.
And I was eating sugar like crazy, and the craving went away. And I'm like, I'm taking mental notes on this because, crap, I do this day in and day out, but I didn't realize how stressed I was and how I was not taking the time to find the sweetness in life to lower the numbers.
So you're eating the sugar and trying to regulate with medication, back and forth you go, and it's chaos in the body. You start to regulate your nervous system because you find that peace, and your body knows what to do to heal.
Yeah, and then my brain shuts off and I lock myself out.
Well, and that's a great point though, because
it was
like forgetting keys or locking yourself out, and those have become such commonplace, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that happens especially in a stressed out state. But a lot of people, I think, don't recognize stress, like you're saying.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say a lot of people, but most of us don't recognize stress
because we're so accustomed to it.
What happens is, that's your neural baseline. And neural baselines fluctuate depending on the often repeated emotions. And so if you're feeling worry or frustration or anything like that quite a bit over several days, what happens as well is that neural signal shuts off the frontal cortex. What happens in the frontal cortex? Attention. Attention.
Yeah.
So if your attention isn't activated, then you forget your keys.
Literally.
You lock yourself out.
Several times a day.
You got to go back into the house several times because you're not living in the present moment, right?
Yeah.
You're either living in anxiety in the future or frustration, depression in the past of what happened yesterday or what could happen tomorrow, and you're not focused on all the possible outcomes right now, and you forget everything.
So, for example, Sarah has driven to our house multiple times. And when I was this last time, I was like, okay, so it's right by the Vasa by our house. And she's like, there's not a Vasa by your house. I'm like, there's a Vasa right by our house. You have driven past our house so many times. And she's like, Redwood Road is not by your house. And she's like, that's like 15 minutes. I'm like, that's the other Vasa. The Vasa that you have passed every single time
I have not noticed.
She did not notice because she is stressed getting to our house, and she is stressed leaving because of her situation, that it's all she can do to get there, to get the work done that
the road.
Yeah, and she's not noticing. And this last time that she came out there, because she changed things in her external world, she looked around and she's like, there is a Vasa right here. There's a Smith's and there's, and she noticed all these things around her that she literally had missed multiple times driving
there's
past.
Trees.
Yeah. and really, like, what an analogy for life, that it's like, how many things are we missing because
the tunnel vision.
Are not aware, because we are so focused on where we think we have to be, because we're in such survival mode that we miss all the beauty around us.
Yeah.
Well, we want to improve that focus, right? Because under that state of stress, which again, up to 78% of the day, people operate under stress.
Yeah.
Not the greatest thing in the world. And all the sickness, illness, and disease because of the physiological functions or malfunctions, what happen under stress in the nervous system. But a lot what happens is that focus in that tunnel vision because you're only focused on either the threat or what you're paying attention to in the moment. You don't really, because it can't expand. The brain can't expand its focus under stress. It's largely shut down.
Yeah.
And you're going off a subconscious program, so you don't notice anything new. You don't try anything new.
Yeah.
Right? You want to stay in that comfortable place, but it's so funny because that comfortable place is also a state of survival.
Yeah.
Right? Because the brain backtracks.
Maybe not super comfortable, but familiar at least. I think people.
Well, it becomes comfortable.
Yes.
Right?
Well, the comfort zone, no growth happens, no learning happens, no improvement happens. And a lot of people, the comfort zone is survival. I mean, this is the bare minimum that I can do and be alive because I can't do anything else.
Right.
But beyond the comfort zone, there's delicious stuff. There's things that are wonderful for the soul, for the spirit. And it's where passion for creativity, for life happens. And I mean, I'm sorry to say, survival is reality for so many.
Right.
For most. And looking for passion is not an option because that's work and it takes energy and we have none left to do that.
Because of stress.
Because of stress.
Because of
consumes.
the negative emotions that are trapped in the nervous system. And
It is so
subconscious.
all-consuming.
Yep.
And I mean, it's like we try to bury the emotions inside. And I know nobody that's listening to this podcast, this has ever happened to. But the example that I like to give to people, you get leftovers, you put it in your fridge in a tight, airtight container, and it goes way, way back there. And then 2 weeks later, your whole fridge reeks. And you're like, what the heck? And you start going through it, right? So we bury emotions and we say, I won't have to deal with it because it's buried and I'm putting lots on top of it. And then that container starts stinking. Well, the body becomes symptomatic. And people say, no, not all diseases are emotional. I begged you to defer because that's your body telling you, listen up, deal with it, help me out. Because, high blood pressure, liver disease, diabetes, all those things is your body saying, help, please help, because I can't do this, and we don't listen. We go to the doctor and we get a pill to treat the symptom, get the numbers down. And that's how we deal with it.
Some duct tape.
Yeah, but duct tape doesn't fix everything.
Duct tape fixes some things. There are some things that I've duct taped. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, but the point is 90% of doctor visits, even more, are from stress. It's when the body's under stress, negative emotions, like you just said, Sarah, and you bury them, feelings buried alive. What's that book?
Never die.
Never die, right?
Yeah.
And those emotional frequencies, Altee should speak to this, but they distort tissue. They cause malfunctions in the nervous system.
Yeah.
And in the tissues and the muscle, the tendons, the ligaments, the cells. And so,
for instance, one of the apps I use when I'm working on people is from that book, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And so I'll look up some of the symptoms. So if I look up, and I just have a few different resources that I like to use to kind of find some of the energetic connections. Do I believe that it's like, oh, this is exactly what it is? No, I'm not that dogmatic about it, but it's like, okay, I pull up. So if I was working on you as a client and you're like, I can't get my numbers under control, I'd look up the symptoms of diabetes, and I'm like, okay, so here's some of the options. Some of these might apply, all of them might apply, none of them might apply. Maybe it's something else, and we'll dig a little deeper. But when I come here and go, okay, judging self or others severely, disappointed in life, ongoing feelings of sorrow, emotional shock, joy of life is gone, feelings of it should be different, obsessed with wanting to control. Sarah.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm reformed.
Okay.
Hey, you can point the finger at us too. This isn't a one-way street, so
Pay attention, Altee.
lack of attention.
And so when you start to look at those, it's like, okay, what else is going on here? That the symptom, the signal, the check engine light that's come on is the diabetes numbers, right? Like the numbers of your blood sugar levels or whatever it might be. You know, we've got a whole list of symptoms. I have a couple other books that I like to read and kind of go back and forth. And I'm doing this during the sessions going, that adds up. This maybe doesn't. And, you know, that's kind of how I just use the process of elimination. But it's like, okay, and sometimes they'll even muscle test and say which one needs the most attention right now.
Because sometimes it's the whole ding list.
Right.
And sometimes people don't know. Like,
Yeah, there's some for me that I'm like, yep.
Or someone might go, none of those really resonate, and so I'll muscle test and go, okay, this one's, you know, maybe like jumping out the strongest, and it's like, okay, ongoing feelings of sorrow, and then they might go, you know what, actually, what I've been experiencing lately is this, and it might come to their mind, and it might not in the moment, but like so many times after a session, I'll get a text a couple days later and go, I know what it is. And I tell people that it'll come to you if you need to know.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's okay. We'll work through it, let it go, and hopefully it's just you don't need to know, and you can just move on with your life. And when you think about it, you go, oh, that hasn't come up for a while. I haven't thought about it. But those symptoms really are that signal from the body to get your attention. It is that check engine light or that smoke detector that's beeping, going, there's a fire, and it needs your attention, and that's all I can give you. You know. Yeah. And you get to do the searching however, you know, you need to figure it out. Some people choose to medicate to mask the symptom because they don't know they can dig deeper or want to or whatever, and that's fine. There's a lot of different ways you can drive home, right? I thought about it. You were giving that analogy, and I literally stayed on that for so long thinking you could go this way or that way, and it really doesn't matter. You guys kept the conversation going, and I was like, see, you can drive any way home, and it doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
Which way's the right way? I don't know.